Right there. All right, those are our water samples. And this suction pulls air through the bottom here, pulling the water down. You'll need 1 milliliter of sulfuric acid. Good morning, everyone. Out here on a beautiful day on the lake. Time to do some water testing, gather some data. First and foremost, have my data sheet from last time. And we're going to be taking water clarity. We're going to be taking the temperature at depth reading. So we have our temperature meter, we have our Secchi Disk, we have our collection tanks, and we have our 6-7 foot water collection spear, tube, what you want to call it. I'll pop this on the head. So we're at the deepest part of the lake right now. This little hole here, right off the high elevation, dips in about 36 feet, and I will be taking temperature readings here. So I'll pop this GoPro on my head, and we will take some depths and temperature readings. Well, we have our Secchi Disk here, and this is a good contrast. This is going to tell water clarity. So what we'll do is we'll drop this into the water, let it go all the way down to where we can't see this anymore. And you can see, we can still see the contrast there. Then we'll pull it up and see how many feet we can see into the water. 22, and finally 23. So 23 foot clarity, that is really good. Water clarity has been completed, and now we will pop our temperature reading. So I have an extra 9-volt battery just in case, and we'll use our thermometer essentially. We'll let this sit at the surface for a minute, calibrate out. 0, 74.6, 5. We'll go down to 5. And we'll put this 5 foot tag right at the surface. Now we'll go down to 15. About an 11-degree drop. Now to 20. 58.1. Now down to 25. 54.8. Down to 30. And this is a pretty cool item here. If you notice, there's a little check valve there. So we'll keep this around our wrist so we don't lose it. And we're gonna try to throw this in, gather the water until the surface is on the line. So right there. You can see the water stays in there, and then when we hit the ball with this rod, it empties into there. About 600 milliliters, and I'm actually going to take 2 samples. Just in case something happens to my first one. I'm just gonna grab some more just in case. Alright, those are our water samples. Keep this in the shade. Down here. And we are all set. So the first thing that I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the chlorophyll sample. We have lots of different gear here. I'll try to explain each use and purpose. First, we have our vacuum hand pump. And what this is gonna do, we're gonna connect this to the beaker. And when we squeeze the trigger here, it's going to pull our water sample through this device. So we will put this onto here. We will take this magnet off, and this piece of paper, this little filter, is going to go right onto here. Careful, filter's there. Make sure it sits in there. Put this back on, and we'll grab 250 milliliters of our water sample. Up to 250. And put this into our device. Then we'll pull this through. And this suction pulls air through the bottom here, pulling the water down. So you can see that. And since this is a lake sample, the water is passing through that little piece of filter paper. And then very carefully we will take it off with the tweezers, kind of fold it up a little bit. And in here I do have my tag that I filled out, my data tag. Has the lake name, the lake ID, the fact that we are testing for chlorophyll, and the milliliters of water, which is the 250. So I'll be real careful with this. And that is what they are looking for. Basically, the amount of chlorophyll that has passed through the water sample onto this little disc here. Now this can be kind of tricky. We don't want this to rip at all. And we'll prep that. There we go. All right. Chlorophyll sample has been gathered. We will pop this in the freezer. Definitely keep it out of the light, which will change the reading. And next we will next we will prep our stabilized acid samples. The next sample we're going to prepare for the lab is the nutrient sample. What we'll need for this is our vial, 250 milliliters of water, which we can measure out here, 250 mils of water. We'll need 1 milliliter of sulfuric acid, H2SO4. Not sure what concentration this is, but we will pour this into here. We will and this is a stabilizer. Okay. We had filled out our lake station ID. We will pop this on here, letting everybody know that this contains sulfuric acid. And then we will take the acid sticker from the vial and then we'll fill out our data. I'm going to put the phosphorus sticker on here, and this is just to verify again the date, the lake ID, where it was taken, county, that it contains a sulfuric acid solution. So this is a sample all prepped for the lab. Perfect. And we will pop this into a baggie with as much ice as we can. Keep it super cold. And then when we ship the samples as well, we'll also put a bunch of ice in the cooler. And this will also go into our box in a baggie as well. Our samples have been prepared. I will swing over to the post office and we will get this in the mail. Thanks for watching, everybody. Just gonna add one more label to this mixture. This is the label with the lot numbers for the sulfuric acid. So this is just infinitely more helpful for the lab. We are doing this entire test over again with deionized water, and this is part of the QA/QC process, also known as quality assurance, quality control. So quality assurance is on the counties, is on the state's side as part of their grant program. Quality control is on my end as the sample tester and preparer. What I'm gonna do first is I filled out my data sheet. As you can see, it has blank QA/QC on it. I'm gonna fill out all my labels, get everything ready, and then completely rinse out my testing gear, put in the deionized water. We'll run it again through the chlorophyll filter with our vacuum hand pump, get 250 milliliters of our deionized water. We'll pop it in here. Again, it's going to contain the sulfuric acid. We're going to be running this whole test over again, just with water that's not lake water, so they can compare the two results and make sure that the testing is being done correctly and also that the lab work is being done correctly. Now in theory, because this is QA/QC and this is DI water, there should be no chlorophyll on this filter, but that's why they're doing this. And finally, the last step is to package this for shipping. QA/QC nutrient samples, and then finally the phosphorus sample. I have all the QA/QC items in this bag, so hopefully this all fits. This isn't the biggest, but we're not gonna make it fit. Okay, and then lastly, just kept all the form and everything in the freezer here. Flip the label. This is the return address to here. Right, we flip the label, and then we put this over here. I will put the return address just in case. Packing tape. All right, samples are prepped. Everything's all good. This goes off to the post office.